A very good evening, everyone. Welcome to Lecture 18 of Professor H.D. Sankalia monthly lecture series on Jain heritage. To deliver the Lecture 18 on the topic Exploring Jain Remains in Northern Madhya Pradesh, some recent findings, we have with us Mr. Prashant Goyal. But before we begin, for those who are joining us for the very first time, let me briefly introduce you all to this particular lecture series and to Bhagwan Sheetalnath Chair for Jain Archaeology. Bhagwan Sheetalnath Chair for Jain Archaeology was established in the Department of AIHC in Archaeology at Deccan College 2.5 years back by the support from International School for Jain Studies, a division of Amar Prerna Trust and Vardhaman Charitable Foundation, USA, for the spread of Jain heritages, for creating awareness amongst commoners, and for specifically focusing researches on Jain heritage, Jain art, Jain archaeology, and so on and so forth. With this aim, we also started various lecture series. One of the lecture series is named after Professor S.B. Dev sir. One lecture series has also been named after Professor M.A. Dhaki sir. We also have a certificate course in Jain Art and Archaeology, which is a 4 credit course. Apart from that, there are certain research projects on sites such as Anjaneri, Muktagiri, Daulatabad or Devgiri, and the region of Kolhapur, which are under progress. We also have our internship programs where we train our students of archaeology into documentation of Jain remains. We have already documented the museum images from Maharashtra, and the other states are also underway. Apart from that, we have intercollegiate quiz competition, a national annual research seminar, a national level workshop, and there are so many other activities that our chair conducts. In the same format, we have this Professor H.D. Sankalia monthly lecture series. This series was named after the establisher of Department of Archaeology, Professor H.D. Sankalia. This was done to honor the contribution that he did, not just for the Jain studies, but also for the studies in archaeology as such. We are all very much aware that Professor H.D. Sankalia, along with Dr. Shobna Gokhale, were responsible for reading the earliest inscription of Brahmin in the region of Western Deccan at Male, and thus tracing back the antiquity of Jainism archaeologically to the 2nd century BCE. That is why we have named this particular series as a contribution and tribute to this great doyen of archaeology and Jain studies. In the same series, we have with us today Mr. Prashant Goyal. I warmly welcome you, Mr. Prashant. I kindly request Mr. Dhananjay Khandare, who is the research assistant of Bhagwan Sheetalnath Chair for Jain Archaeology, to give a formal introduction to Mr. Prashant Goyal.
Good evening, everyone. Our today's speaker, Prashant Goyal, is a UGC Fellow currently pursuing his Ph.D. at Deccan College Postgraduate and Research Institute, Pune. He holds a postgraduate degree in Ancient Indian History, Culture and Archaeology and has completed a postgraduate diploma in Archaeology from Pandit Deendayal Upadhyaya Institute of Archaeology, Archaeological Survey of India, Greater Noida. He has also completed a diploma in tourism and hotel management along with a bachelor's degree in civil engineering. His research focuses on Jain archaeological remains in the Chanderi region and surrounding areas of Madhya Pradesh, with an emphasis on the field exploration, documentation, and the study of art and architecture. I welcome you, Prashant.
Thank you so much, Dhananjay Bhaiya. So, good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank you, the organizer of the H.D. Sankalia monthly lecture series, for giving me this opportunity to present my work here. Especially, I would like to thank you, Dr. Shrikant Ganvir sir, for inviting me and for his constant encouragement and guidance. Today, I will be presenting some of my recent work on Jain archaeological remains, northern Madhya Pradesh. So, I will share my PPT. My PPT is visible?
Not yet. I can just see your symbol. Yes, now it is visible. Yes, it is visible now. You can.
Okay, perfect. Okay, my voice is clear, Ocean?
Yes, yes.
Okay, fine. So, as you can see, the title of my presentation is Exploring Jain Remains in Northern Madhya Pradesh, Some Recent Findings. So, this presentation is based on my field exploration and ongoing research in the region, where I have been studying various Jain sites, including temples, inscriptions, sculptures, and architectural remains. So, through this lecture, I will try to highlight some important sites, new observation, and their broader historical and cultural significance. So, before going into the detail, I would like to briefly introduce the theme of my lecture. Jain archaeology is an important part of India's past. It helps us understand how Jain community lived, how they worship, and how their ideas spread across different regions. So it also shows us the interaction between Jainism and other religious tradition. So when we are talking about the northern part of the Madhya Pradesh, it has Jainism received patronage from several important dynasties, especially during the early medieval period. So these ruling power played a significant role in the construction of temples and the development of sacred sites. So in today's lecture, I will mainly focus on a few important sites from Ashoknagar district, particularly Idor and Amanchar. So these sites have rich archaeological remains such as temples, temple structures, sculptures, inscriptions, and many fragmented architectural pieces. At the same time, many of these remains are in poor state of preservation. They are affected by natural weathering, vegetation growth, and also human activity. So, through this lecture, I will try to discuss these three main things. So, first, why these sites are important, and second is what kind of remains we found there, and third, why there is an urgent need to protect and properly document them. Now, I would like to briefly explain the study area of my research. As you can see in the map, the region I am focusing on is northern Madhya Pradesh, which lies in central India. So, this region has a rich historical background and is known for its diverse cultural and religious heritage. And this northern part of Madhya Pradesh have some important district, which is Ashoknagar, Guna, Shivpuri, Datia, Bhind, Morena, Shiopur, and Gwalior. So among these, my primary focus on Ashoknagar district. So this entire region preserves a number of significant Jain sites. Some of the major sites including Idor and Budi Chanderi, like Khandar, Thubon, Rannaut, Pachrai, Sakarra, Sonagiri, and Gwalior. These sites collectively show the wide distribution of Jain remains in this region and indicate that it was an important center of religious activity over a long period of time. However, in this lecture, I will mainly concentrate on selected sites, especially Idor and Amanchar, to present a more detailed analysis. Now, to better understand these sites, it is important to look at the geographical context of this region. So the study area is quite rich in terms of archaeology. A large number of Jain sites are found here, although many of them are still not widely known or properly studied. So geographically, this region mainly falls within Bundelkhand along with the part of northern Malwa. And because of the location, it acts as an important meeting point of different cultures, trade routes, and religious tradition. So due to the interaction, Jainism flourished here along with other religious tradition. So this is clearly visible from the material remains we find today. So such as temple sculpture and inscription. Another important aspect is the landscape of this region. It is quite varied, including rocky terrain, hills, plateau, and river system. So this kind of landscape also influence the location of settlement and the development of religious sites. Now, I would like to briefly discuss how Jainism developed in central India. So, Jainism originally spread from regions like eastern India and gradually moved westward into central India. One of the most important factors in this movement was the role of trade routes. Jain monks often traveled along these routes, spreading their teachings, establishing religious centers, and at the same time, merchant communities played a very important role in supporting Jainism. They contributed by funding the construction of temples, shelters, and by donating sculptures. And because Central India was well connected to major trading route, Jainism found strong support in this region. So by the early historic period, we can clearly see the presence of Jainism through archaeological evidence such as rock cut sculptures, early temple remains, and inscriptions that mention donors and patrons. So the early medieval period was especially significant as it marks a major phase of expansion of Jainism in Madhya Pradesh. Important dynasties like the Pratiharas, Chandelas, and Parmaras supported Jain communities during this time. Another important point is that Jainism coexisted with Hinduism and Buddhism in this region. Instead of conflict, there was an often cultural exchange and shared artistic tradition. Now, let us look at the early evidence of Jainism in this region. The ancient root of Jainism in central India can be traced back to early historical sources as well as archaeological findings. For example, canonical texts mention the travels of Mahaviras in this region, like Ujjain or ancient Avanti, which suggest an early presence of Jainism here as early as the 6th century BC. And later tradition associated with Emperor Samprati in the 3rd century BC also indicate the spread of Jainism in the Malwa region. And however, the more concentrate archaeological evidence come from the Gupta period. The discovery of inscribed Tirthankar image from the Vidisha region provides some of the earliest material evidence of Jainism in Madhya Pradesh. So during the later Gupta period, this tradition continued, and a good example is the image of Parshvanath from Udaygiri dated to the time of Kumaragupta the first, and the table is summarized the development from textual reference to clear archaeological evidence. So the image shows here is a seated figure of a Tirthankara, which is found from Durjanpur near Vidisa, which further reflected the development of Jain art during this period. Now, I would like to highlight the role of royal patronage in the development of Jainism in this region. As we know, the growth of any religious tradition is closely connected with the support of ruling powers. And in in northern Madhya Pradesh, several dynasties played an important role in supporting Jainism over different periods. So, starting with the Gupta period, we find some of the early inscribed Tirthankar images that we already discussed in the previous slide, especially from the Vidisha region. Rulers like Ram Gupta and Kumar Gupta supported Jain artistic activities, including the famous relief at Udaygiri. And later, during the Gurjar Pratihara period, there was further development of Jain shrines, particularly in the region like Gwalior and Morena. And the Chandela dynasties marks a very important phase. During this time, we see a significant expansion in temple construction. For example, the Parshvanath temple in Khajuraho, which is very important example of Jain architecture from this period. And similarly, the Kachap Ghata rulers also contributed by supporting the installation of Jain sculptures and religious establishments as recorded in inscription. And finally, during the Tomar period, especially at Gwalior, we see creation of large rocket Jain sculptures, and these monumental images clearly reflect strong royal patronage and devotion. So overall, this table shows how different dynasties over a long period of time contributed to the growth and continuity of Jainism in this region. Now, these are the major centers. Uh, which is represent different phase of development in the terms of architecture, scale, and religious activity. For example, Khajuraho, Khajuraho is known for its Nagra style temple, especially from the 10th, 11th century, with very detailed high relief sculptures. Gwalior is another important center, particularly known for its large rock cut monolithic Tirthankar sculptures, mainly from the 15th century. Chanderi is also significant because it shows both structural and rock cut traditions and has a dense concentration of Jain temples over a long period of time. And Sonagiri is also a very important site with a large number of wide spired temples, and it continues to be active pilgrims centers even today. If you look at this map now, I will focus on Ashoknagar district, which is very rich in Jain archaeological remains. Many important sites in this region show the strong presence of Jainism in the past. When we look specifically at Ashoknagar district, it is very rich in heritage, and there are many archaeological sites in this district. From these sites, a large number of Jain remains like temple sculptures and fragments have been found. So these clearly show the importance of the region in Jain history. So overall, this district provide a very rich archaeological landscape for understanding Jain heritage in this region. Along with the site I mentioned earlier, there are several other important sites in the Ashoknagar district that further show the richness of this region. One such site is Tumen, which is located quite close to Ashoknagar. It has evidence back to the Gupta period, including a sculpture of Tirthankar Parshnath. A part of the Parshnath sculpture, one sculpture is Ambika sculpture, I think, which is kept in the Harisinghar University Sagar Museum. And next is Thuvon, which is situated on the Chanderi Ashoknagar route. And this is known for the remains of Jain temples, especially dedicated to Shantinath. And we can still see a parts of the sanctum and mandapas are there. And another important site is Bitla, which dates to around 11th century. It preserved temple remains dedicated to Rishabhnath and Neminath, and is known for its detailed carving and decorative elements. And the last is Budi Chanderi is also very significant. It has remains from around 10th century to 12th century, and including temple structure, scattered sculptures, and inscriptions that give us information about patrons and religious activities. So when we look at all these sites together, it becomes clear that Ashoknagar district was an important center of Jain activity over a long period of time, and with continuously religious and artistic development. So this is the map of Indore, where we can see some localities are there. There Gargas temples are there, Devika Mandir, Khinadev temple, Satish stone are found from this site. So okay. Now, I will explain Idor, which is very important for its Jain heritage. Among these, this is one of the significant structure is the Khina Dev temple. You can see in the figure. This temple is especially notable for its detailed carving and sculptural richness, including image of Tirthankara such as Parshnath. And what makes this structure particularly interesting is its architectural form. It shows features similar to Sarvato Bhadra style, where images are placed on multiple sides, suggested a concept of all directional presence of the Tirthankar. At the same time, when we closely study the structure, it does not fully follow a conventional temple plan. Instead, it appears to a unique architectural experiment where the shrine itself becomes the central object of worship. Apart from this main structure, the entire area around it also has a large number of scattered sculptures and temple fragments. And these remains clearly indicate that this was once a flourishing Jain centers with active religious and artistic activity. Now I will explain this structure is more detailed by looking at all four sides. This is the very important structure. So as you can see on this side, uh, the four all side are same shrine, which is why it can be compared to a Sarvatobhadra or Chomuka type structure, and starting with the first side. So here we can see a seated Tirthankara figure in a meditative posture. Although the image is partially damaged, the overall composition along with the serpent hood above the head suggests that this is the sculpture of Parshnath, 23rd Tirthankar Parshnath, and the surrounding carving, including attendants and decorative motifs, are there. Moving to the second side, this phase is this phase is more damaged. The central image is not clearly preserved. However, the architectural frame, niche, and surrounding carving indicate that a similar Tirthankar image would have originally been present here. On the third side, we can again see a clearly identified niche with a central figure, and the detailing here is quite elaborate, especially in a upper portion, uh, showing decorative bands and miniature carving. And this suggests a high level of craftsmanship and planning in the design. And finally, the fourth side, this side appears more open and give us an idea of the internal hollow space within the structure. So this is very important because it shows that the shrine was not just a solid block but had a conceptual internal space, possibly symbolic in nature. So when we look at all four sides together, we can understand that this structure was designed to be viewed from all directions. However, at the same time, it does not strictly follow the traditional temple plan. This makes it a unique architectural form, possibly an experimental or localized variation of the Sarvatobhadra concept. So this is very interesting structure. Another this slide shows another temple structure from the same area, but it is in damaged condition. Only some wall parts and stone blocks are left, while most of the structure has collapsed. So in the right image, we can see a small niche and with a seated Tirthankar figure, which shows that this was a Jain temple, and the middle image shows some standing pillars or vertical stones which may have been part of entrance of mandapa. Or around the structure, many broken sculptures and architectural pieces are scattered. So all these remains suggest that this was once an important Jain temple sites, but it has now turned into ruins over time. These are some loose sculpture that is scattered near the Kinnadev temple. This sculpture of Paramparva is on sandstone, and the Tirthankar is depicted in Padmasana on a throne that is supported by two loins at its base. On either side of the throne are seated loins symbolizing strength and guardianship. The Lanchana of a lotus flower is placed below the throne, highlighting the spiritual significance of the deity. The Tirthankar is shown in a Dhyan Mudra, and the head is adorned with Maladhara, further enhancing the divine aura of the sculpture. So, unfortunately, the face of the central figure has been damaged, and no inscription is found on the sculpture. From an iconographic perspective, this sculpture can be dated to approximately 11th and 12th century. So another one more sculpture, but unfortunately we couldn't identify this sculpture. It's also in a meditative position, but it's in broken in form. Now this is a meditative sculpture, same like previous one, carved from sandstone, depicted a Tirthankara in Padmasana. throne flanked by lion. But Sriva symbol typically present on the chat bus. Sriva symbol either missing or eroded, and there is no clear evidence of Lanchana, so that's why we couldn't identify this Tirthankar. No inscription is found on the sculpture to help to identify the specific Tirthankar. From an iconographic perspective, this sculpture believed to have been crafted between the 11th 12th century CE, reflecting the contemporary artistic and religious practice of the time. Despite its unidentified nature, the sculpture holds significant archaeological value due to its craftsmanship and the symbolic element of the art. One more sculpture you can see. This sculpture is a Parshvanath, 23rd Tirthankar, which is Parshvanath, is completely damaged with only the portion above the head remaining, and the figure is shown under seven serpent hood, symbolizing protection. Maladhar, accompanied by their female counterparts, are carved on both sides with gajas depicted above them. So triple chhatras can be seen over the central image. Dharnendra and Padmavati can be seen with three serpent hood. This is locality 2 is located near the modern Devi temple, and in the Devi temple in Indore, around 25 to 30 Brahminical and Jain sculptures of different size are placed. One more interesting sculpture is represent parents of the Jinnah with catch holding a child in their hands. You can see, and the top portion of this depiction is marked with a seated Jinnah. Other images, including unidentified heads of the Jinnah, deities, and three Sivlingas, are there. So, this slide highlights the broader discussion of the study area. The region around Indore is not limited to one village, but includes several nearby villages like Sakarra, Pachrai, Ranod, Mahua, Terahi, Survaya, Thuvon, and Budi Chanderi, all having rich archaeological remains. So previous research has been done in this region, but it was not systematic, so many important aspects are still overlooked. So because of this, there is a strong need for a proper and systematic archaeological survey in these areas. So such a study can help connect missing link in a history, fill gap in our knowledge, and provide a clear understanding of the region's past. So it will also be very useful for future researchers working on Central India's heritage. Now, moving ahead from Idor, I will discuss another important site, which is Amanchar. As shown on the map, Amanchar is located in the same region and is part of this wider archaeological landscape. So, this sites also preserve important Jain archaeological remains along with evidence of other religious traditions. In the next slide, I will explain the main features of findings from Amanchar village. So this is the geographical map of Amanchar village. As we can see on the map, different localities have been marked where archaeological remains are found. So the site has a mix of both Jain and Brahminical remains, which shows religious diversity in this area. And Jain remains mainly include broken images of Tirthankaras and temple fragments. So along with this, Brahminical sculptures are also found, indicating the coexistence of different traditions. So this is the locality one of Amanchar where Jain sculptures are found. The remains here mainly belong to 10th, 11th, and 11th century, showing a strong Jain presence in this region. Similarly, remains are also found in nearby places like Dongra, Thumon, Chanderi, and Budi Chanderi. So in the image, we can see broken parts of sculpture such as heads and pedestal fragments. So There are also one Parshvanath sculpture made of sandstone. The sculpture is broken into two parts. So the upper parts and lower body both are same sculpture. So based on the seven hooded serpent above the head, the figure is identified as Parshvanath. The fact of the Jina is the face of the Jina is badly weathered due to age and environment effect. So on the both side of his feet, chauri wear are present. You can see. Uh, and a large amount of grass and wild plants has grown around the sculpture, and because of this and as both broken parts are partially buried in the ground, so it is very difficult to see the remaining portion of the sculpture clearly. So the growth of vegetation is covering many details of the artwork. So this is of these are also various broken sculptures, but we couldn't identify these kind of sculpture. And this slide shows some Jain sculptures that were moved from Amanchar to Sehrai. So Sehrai is located about 10 kilometer far from the Amanchar. So a few year ago, the Jain community shifted these sculptures to nearby temples for worship and protection. So in the image, we can see both broken and well-preserved sculpture placed inside the temple. And this is the first Tirthankar Adinath. You can see Lanchan, and there is a here shoulders of the Tirthankar. So this is the sculpture of first Tirthankar, and there is two more Chaumukas are there, but because of lack of Lanchanas, we couldn't identify this Tirthankar. So this is the this sculpture is in Kayusarg posture, and this sculpture, this Tirthankar is Shantinath. Now, locality 2, this slide shows a Chaumukha structure which has carving on all four sides. On each side, different Brahminical deities are depicted. So these include Surya with Usha Pratyusha, standing Ganesh are there, Vishnu and Mahishasur Mardani. So such Chaumukha structure are quite common in Jain tradition, where figures are carved on all four sides of a pillar or shrine. In this region, many similar Chaumukha example with the Jain Tirthankar image have also been found. So this shows a shared artistic tradition and the coexistence of Jain and Brahminical element in this area. So these are some more fragment. This is a fragment of a Hanuman sculpture has been discovered carved in red sandstone, a material commonly used in Central Indian art. Although much of the figure is damaged and significant detail remains that help in its identification. Only part of the lower limb of the figure survive. So one leg is preserved from just below the knee, and while only the foot of the other leg remain intact. So notably under the surviving foot, the figure of Lanka Devi is depicted in a submissive pose. So being trampled beneath Hanuman's foot. So this iconographic feature is quite prominent in the region and can be observed in several sites across central India. So where similar sculptures has been reported. Another broken sculptures of Nandi, the sacred bull and vehicle of Lord Shiva, has been discovered. The head portion of the sculpture is missing, but several other important features remain intact. The Nandi is depicted in a seated posture, a traditional pose often seen in front of Shiva temples. Around its neck, a rope or band is visible, where possibly represent uh, the the bell necklace commonly shows in Nandi iconography, and this band appears to extend towards the back. So where it is being held by human figure carved at the center of Nandi's body. The figure is shown with both hands raised as if holding the rope or leading Nandi. So let's move to the another slide. This is the Brahminical remains. We can different broken sculpture and architecture fragments scattered around the village. Some images show deities, carved panel, and decorative stone element that were once a part of temple structures. So uh, these remains clearly indicated that Brahminical tradition also coexist here along with the Jainism, because we can see Surya sculptures are there, some Tirthankara door gem. This is a part of door gem. So this reflect the coexistence of different religious tradition in the same region. In the locality 3, several broken and weathered sculptures fragments have been found. These pieces are heavily damaged and quite small in size, so making it extremely difficult to identify the original deities or figures they once represented. So the local villagers have collected these fragments and respectfully placed them in front of a newly constructed temple. So the sculpture have been painted with a chol, vermilion, and are now worshipped by the community. So reflecting the continuing cultural and religious significance attached to these ancient remains. So among the fragment, a stone slab is also present, which is appear to be a part of roof or ceiling. Based on this architectural element and the presence of sculptural remains, it can be assumed that a small temple once exists in this spot. Now, we found some Sati stone in Amanchar region. A total of 6 Sati stone have been identified in this area. One of them is located near a stepwell and also has an inscription on it, while the other are found in the central part of the village. So in the image, we can see carved figure and symbolic representation on these stone. So these Sati stone are memorial stone which reflect the social and cultural practice followed in the past. So these are the two step wells which is important to the water structure used for storage and daily use. So in this image we can see a circular stone lined wells which are now in a damaged and neglected condition. So these structure also had religious importance as water was used for rituals and daily activities. So they show the knowledge of ancient water management and conservation techniques in this region. To conclude, Amanchar is an important archaeological site. Then we already discussed in our previous slide coexistence of Jain and Brahminical tradition. Sculptures and remains show that the art and religious development together in this region. The presence of Sati stone helps us understand past social customs, while stepwells show advanced water management system. So all these findings make Amanchar as a very important for understanding central India's cultural history. So, however, more detailed and systematic research is still needed to understand the site fully. So at the same time, proper preservation is necessary to protect this heritage for future generation. This is present the interpretation of the slide. First, the site clearly shows religious and cultural diversity, where Jain and Brahminical tradition existed together, not only in Idor and Amanchar. A part of these sites, there are so many sites in Ashoknagar district where we found coexistent behavior of the site. Second, the sculptures are, and temple remains indicated rich artistic and religious landscape showing shared cultural space. Third, the Sati stone give evidence of past social practices and beliefs. Also, these findings highlight the importance of archaeological research in understanding the region's history. Finally, there is a strong need for preservation so that these remains can be protected and studied in the future. This slide shows the major threats to Jain heritage in North Madhya Pradesh. So today, many sites are facing problems like neglect, damage, and lack of protection. So that's why it is very important to bring these kind of issue to public attention. So the image shows a sculpture kept in temporary and unsafe condition. So some example from border area of Madhya Pradesh, including the site of Uttar Pradesh like Siron Khurd, and there are some more sites like Devgarh and Chandpur. So this highlight the urgent need for proper conservation and awareness. So these are the key problems in preservation Jain sites. So the main problems is preserving is Jain sites is fake inscription being added on old sculptures. Another problem is modern alteration like plastering and repainting, and these change damage the original look of the sculptures. There is also destruction of old remains for construction. Sometimes ancient sculptures are broken to build new temples. One more important key problem is that relocation of sculpture is also very serious, because many sculptures are moved from their original sites to other place. So this break their historical and archaeological context. So all these problems are affecting the authenticity of Jain heritage. So this is a good example of fake inscription. So this in some places new inscription are written in Brahmi script. So you can see these are the Brahmi letters, and these are the early Devanagari, and the this sculpture is around 10th 11th century, and the aim is to show the sculpture as a more ancient than they are. So such practice create false history. So during fieldwork, some fake inscription were identified. So these are not original to the sculpture. So they create a confusion for the researcher, for historian. It also creates incorrect historical records. So this is a serious threat to archaeological authenticity. Modern alteration. So this slide show modern alteration on sculptures. Many old sculptures are covered with plaster or modern coating that we shown in the figure. This sculpture is from Chandpur near Dudhai district, Lalitpur, and this is also in Sironpur. So this damage their original features and details. So the historical value of the sculpture is reduced. In this sculpture, we can see they coated some modern layer, and temporary structure are also made around them. So this changes their original context. So such practice are common at many sites. So proper conservation methods are needed instead of these changes. So this is the before and after images. Before coating, you can see this is the sculpture of Shantinath, Lalitpur के देवगढ़ जिले में. After that, after some year, now इस पे कोटिंग कर दी गई और स्कल्पचर अभी इस तरीके का दिखता है. So this is also a big threat of Jain heritage in the northern part of Madhya Pradesh. This is a site of Khandar. Now recent work is going on, and the a large rocket Jain sculpture was destroyed using dynamite. So this sculpture was around 15th century in date. So such destruction caused permanent loss of heritage. So at the same place, new construction is being done. You can see nearby, and this practice remove the original historical evidence. It changes the authenticity of the site. So ancient art and craftsmanship are lost forever. So this is a serious threat to archaeological heritage. So this is the before and after image of Khandar. You can see before, I think 5 year back, the image looks like this, and after that, new temple construct work is going on. One more threats is relocation of sculpture. This slide show the relocation of sculpture. Many sculpture are moved from their original sites. They are taken to new temple for worship. This is also affect the authenticity of the site, and we already discussed about some sculptures they moved Amanchar to Sarai. So this is not only a one example of that relocation of the sculpture. There are so many example in that area. So these are also some sculpture जो अमनचार से सहराई के नए मंदिर में लाकर स्थापित किए गए हैं. So okay, so this slide present the overall discussion. So North Madhya Pradesh has a rich Jain heritage that we discussed. Important sites, Idor, Thuman, Budi Chanderi, and Thuman, and many dynasties supported Jainism in this region. And we discussed some threats of that we affected the heritage, that including fake inscription, modern alteration, relocation of sculptures, and destruction are also major issue. So there is a need to spread awareness among people. Proper conservation should be done by expert, and we must protect this heritage for future generation. So in last, the conclusion, the northern Madhya Pradesh is a very important region for Jain heritage, where religious activity continued for a long time, and the region has a rich variety of archaeological remains, including temples, sculptures, and architectural fragment. These remains help us to understand the development of art and religion in this area. So sites like Idor and Amanchar and many more sites in this area are especially important because they give insight into local patterns of religious and artistic tradition. So another important point is the coexistence of Jain and Brahmanical traditions. This shows that different religious communities share the same cultural space peacefully. And however, today many of these sites are facing serious problems. These include structural damage, modern alteration, and relocation of sculpture from their original context. So also many sites are still not properly documented or study in the details, so while creates gap in our understanding. So therefore there is an urgent need for proper archaeological documentation, scientific conservation, and greater awareness among local communities. Only through these efforts can we protect the preserve this valuable heritage for future generation. So this is the end of my lecture. So these are some people who my field, the reference that I used.
Thank you very much, Prashant, for your excellent lecture. It seems that many of the participants and a learned audience liked the lecture very much. There is one question in the chat box. Kushagradi Basu is asking, dear speaker, you mentioned some of the sculptures are without lanchanas. In that case, is there really no way out to identify the Tirthankar, considering the fact that the sculpture is uninscribed?
Without any lanchana, it is very difficult to identify any Tirthankras. And if we have inscription is there, तो थोड़ा सा easy हो जाता है. उसके अलावा तीर्थंकर्स को पहचानने का मुझे नहीं लगता कोई ऑप्शन होगा.
Yeah, so it seems.
Prashant, please stop sharing your screen so that Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Uh, there is one question by Dr. Meka Venkata Raghavendra Verma, sir. He is asking how many new inscriptions are found during your study?
Sir, I found two inscription. One is from Amanchar and one is from Budi Chanderi. But I could not decipher that inscription, so I am still working on that.
Yes. One question by Ananya Rajan is that how can local communities actively participate in the protection and preservation of these archaeological sites? What practical steps can be taken at the village level? Is there any possibility of linking these Jain sites to ancient trade routes or economic networks? And what kind of evidence can support such connections?
Uh, at the village level, people can help by keeping the site clean, preventing damage or misuse, and informing authority if any illegal activity take place. So they can also avoid practices like repeating or moving old sculptures. So इस विलेज टू विलेज सर्वे के टाइम पे वहाँ गांव में लोगों को अवेयरनेस के प्रोग्राम चलाने के साथ साथ ये वाले काम हम कर सकते हैं. इसके साथ साथ क्रिएटिंग आई ऑलरेडी मेंशन दैट क्रिएटिंग अवेयरनेस अमंग विलेजर्स about the historical importance of these remains is very important. So local groups or committee can be informed to look after the site regularly. In this way, community participation can help is better preservation and protection of heritage.
Yes. There is one question by Manjiri Zoshi ji. She is asking in what ways can modern technologies like GIS mapping or 3D documentation support the study and conservation of these sites? Can they improve accuracy and long-term preservation?
Okay. Modern technologies like GIS mapping and 3D documentation can greatly support the study and conservation of any archaeological site. So GIS help in mapping the exact location of sites, understanding their distribution, and analyzing their relationship with the landscape. And the 3D documentation allows us to create accurate digital models of structures and sculptures, which helps in detailed study without physical disturbing them. So these technologies also record the current condition of the site, which is useful for monitoring damage over time. So yes, this is improved accuracy and also help in long-term preservation. And because even if the original remains are damaged in the future, their detailed digital record will still be available for research and the conservation process in the further studies.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, we are very thankful to you, Prashant, for taking up this topic and also highlighting the current issues that the academicians face that probably people who are laity, they are doing because they are not aware or because they are not completely understanding the kind of ways in which these can be taken forward, these heritages can be taken forward. So thank you for highlighting that. One last question we will take because we are running out of time now. Sagar Kathare is asking, is there any pattern or motive behind creating these fake inscriptions, like linking the sites to greater antiquity or for religious importance?
I couldn't find any specific pattern in my region, but I found some inscription जो फेक इंस्क्रिप्शन जो लोग बना रहे हैं एक्चुअली दे नो सम हिस्ट्री और आर्कियोलॉजी. आई थिंक they are from creating a false information, and the relocation of the sculpture is in very similar to not only in northern Madhya Pradesh, apart of the various sites of southern part of the Madhya Pradesh also.
Yes. There is a very important comment by Vinayak Parabji, so I will write to read it. It's not a question as such, but it's a wish and a comment. So he says that fake inscriptions, relocations, and modern alterations remain major challenges in this field. Too often, PhD theses end up confined to library shelves, limiting their wider impact. And he hopes that the research that you are doing, Prashant, breaks out of that cycle and reaches the public domain, fostering greater awareness and engagement. He wishes you all the best in your work and in bringing these important issues to broader attention. And there are many more such words of appreciation for you. So that is definitely one of the steps that you have taken through this particular lecture. Last question for the day is by Gopal Joge sir. He's saying, Prashant, this is a small query to you. The region that you are dealing is, in general, seen predominated by the Shaivas and to some extent by the Shaktas. In that case, how do you see the presence of the Jain faith along with it?
Sir, actually, in my area, there are some archaeological sites like Idor, Kadwaya and Budi Chanderi. यहाँ पर जैनिज्म के साथ साथ शाक्तिज्म एंड शैविज्म के भी रिमेन्स मिल रहे हैं, तो उसके साथ साथ इसका अभी उसके लिए मैं सर थोड़ा पढ़ रहा हूँ, अभी उसका अभी आंसर मैं उस तरीके से नहीं दे सकता.
Hopefully, your research and its fulfillment will throw more light on these aspects that have been highlighted by the respected teachers and the other people. Due to shortage of time, we will not be able to take all the questions right now, but I think that all of you with you. For now, I request Dhananjay Khandare, who is the research assistant of Bhagwan Sheetalnath Chair for Jain Archaeology, to propose a formal vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Bhagwan Sheetalnath Chair for Jain Archaeology, Department of Ancient Indian History, Culture and Archaeology, Deccan College, Postgraduate and Research Institute, Pune, I extend my heartfelt vote of thanks for today's enriching session. First and foremost, I express our sincere gratitude to our speaker, Mr. Prashant Goyal, for delivering such an insightful and thought-provoking lecture on exploring Jain remains in northern Madhya Pradesh, some recent findings. Your meticulous research, field-based observation, and clear articulation have greatly enhanced our understanding of the Jain archaeological heritage and its broader cultural significance. I would also like to extend our special thanks to Dr. Sulekh Chand Jain sir, Dr. Pawan Jain madam, Dr. Tamara CS madam, Gopal Joge sir, Dr. M. Venkata Raghavan sir, Dr. Shailendra Shinde, Dr. Vinayak Parab for their valuable presence. We are deeply grateful to our head of department and the organizing team for their effort in making this lecture a successful. Lastly, I thank all the participants for your active presence and engagement, which truly made this session meaningful. Thank you all once again. Have a good night.